Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get some insight into college football at the Ivy League level. My guest today is Bob Surace. He's the head football coach of Princeton University. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Anthony.
Yeah, no problem. So usually I start my guests where they went to college. So where'd you go to school?
Well, I went to college here at Princeton University. Graduated in 1990. We just had reunions this weekend. I celebrated my 27th.
Wow.
Met my lovely wife, Lisa, who is the associate head of school at Princeton Day School. She celebrated her 25th, and we were on stage with Naughty by Nature dancing at our reunion. So had a great time amongst 26,000 other alumni.
Yeah, I bet. It usually gets pretty packed at Princeton University.
Yeah, I don't know if any college in the country does reunions better. They have such a great tradition, and alumni have had such a great undergraduate experience.
Sure.
And it's like you pick right back up with your friendships, and it's really nice.
So let's go back into high school. And did you get recruited out of high school, and what year did it start? Was it freshman year, senior year?
Yeah, it was much different back then. So I went to Millville High School, home of Mike Trout, the great baseball player. My father was my football coach, was football and baseball coach at Millville for 25 years in football. And recruiting was different back then. It really pretty much started towards the end of the junior year. And then that summer I did a couple of football camps, but camps were nothing like they are today. There was, the technology today and social media today and ways we can communicate with recruits.
Did you just get recruited by Princeton, or were there a lot of them?
No, I was kind of a tweener. I was undersized. I was a 2 is what we call them now. I was too small to be a lineman and too slow to be a linebacker. But I had a really good high school career and was all state in New Jersey and everything else, and was a good high school player. But the qualities that you look for at the major college level, I was on the probably C+ list at the the Penn State's, Rutgers, is the Big Ten type schools or ACC type schools, and I took my official visits, and my guidance counselors, who my dad had worked with for years, really indicated, because I was such a strong student, I should be looking at Ivy League schools, and I narrowed my Ivy League schools down to a couple, and Patriot League schools, and I narrowed those down to a couple. I did take one Power 5 visit to Mississippi State, which was quite an experience, and and I also went to took a visit to a service academy, to the Naval Academy, and but I took all the 5 visits and had them in a certain order, and loved each one of them for different reasons. But when I took the visit to Princeton, and the friendships and the bond and all those things that you look at, in addition to the incredible education that you would get at Princeton, really took it over the top.
So now you graduate high school, go to Princeton University. You do 4 years, 5 years?
4 years, and the Ivy League in Princeton, it is very rare for somebody to go more than 4 years. There are students that'll take a gap year or study abroad for a year or do different things, and we don't redshirt other than for injury. So, every year it seems like a Seth DeValve, who now plays in the National Football League and is the starting tight end for the Cleveland Browns. Seth had a foot injury his first senior year, missed 8 games that year, qualified for a medical redshirt, and then came back another year.
Wow. So while at Princeton University, how did you go from Princeton University to becoming the head coach at Princeton University?
I knew that athletics was in my blood. I mean, I was the classic head coach's son tag along. So I was the bat boy for my dad's baseball teams. I was the water boy for his football teams, and I was the kid who, when they were watching film on a Sunday night, I was sitting in with the coaches, and I just loved athletics. And one of the things that bonds you with Princeton is you see around campus these education through athletics. One of our mottos of our athletic department is this great teamwork, the things you get out of sports that apply to life. And I saw firsthand with my father. I wasn't sure if I was going to go into an administrative or coaching.
Right.
I knew I wanted to be in one or the other. And I went and got my graduate assistantship at Springfield College. And Springfield is a cradle of coaches and administrators. And I had a tough decision to make before my second year there. I had an opportunity to do an internship in the National Football League as a scout. And I had an opportunity to run camps with some great football coaches. And at Springfield, I was both taking classes in administration and coaching on their football team. And I just loved the interaction with the students. And I loved the direct one-on-one that you get with the students there, the student athletes there. And I wound up going the coaching route. And from there, I went to a school called Maine Maritime Academy.
Sure.
Worked under John Heward, College Football Hall of Fame player. Yeah. And what a great experience. He was at the cutting edge of technology back then. And so from the beginning, my roots, I was involved with the analytics and those type things that are now so prevalent today. He went from Division III Maine Maritime to the Canadian Football League. They brought a few teams in the United States to the Canadian Football League in the mid-1990s. He brought me with him. That experience did not last long in the United States. And my wife, who had graduated from Princeton, was getting her doctorate at NYU. So I found, had an opportunity with a guy who coached at Princeton, was at RPI, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Brought me with him, and I was there a year, and then became the offensive coordinator at Western Connecticut. Had a great experience there, eventually became the head football coach at Western Connecticut. My wife was the head soccer coach at Staples High School in Westport, and she was a school administrator there.
Wow.
And from there, I got a phone call from a teammate at Princeton. You know, this whole networking and relationship.
Sure.
Named John Garrett. John was with the Cincinnati Bengals. A job had come open, and he asked me, do you want to come interview?
Wow.
And I said, absolutely. And then I went home, told my wife, and she's like, where is Cincinnati? We were so happy in Connecticut. And I told her that I have no chance to ever be the head coach at Princeton, coming from a Division III school. And we were amazing. We won our first NCAA playoff games and conference titles, and we were 18-3, I believe, in my 2 years there. You have no chance to go from that level, very small chance at best, to an Ivy League school at Division I. And you go to the NFL, I'm at least going to be in that final grouping, and I'll have a real opportunity. And I just said it because I wanted to coach in the NFL. I had no idea that the job would ever come open. And I was there 8 years with Marvin Lewis, and really saw that program take off there.
Yeah.
And 8 years, the job at Princeton came open, and had a chance to come back home. And this has always been home for us and my wife. And we've always, every year since we've been out of college, we've spent time at Princeton, whether it's been reunions or to go see and just walk, once we had kids, walk our kids around campus.
So now you're at Princeton University for 8 years, you said?
I'm going into my 8th year.
Going into your 8th year. Great. Fantastic. So let's go into recruiting and how the Ivy Leagues recruit. Where do you start? Do you just comb the whole country, or do they come to you, or how does it all work?
Yeah, the Ivy League is national recruiting. And ESPN a few years ago did a survey through the database of every roster. And Princeton was the #1 most regionally diverse football program in the country. And we have kids from all over. The top 11 schools were Ivy League schools on the survey in military service academies. And we really are schools that, we will get kids. I mean, we've had a year we were shut out in North Jersey, and we've had years where we had the Gatorade State Player of the Year and another young man that turned down Alabama and Florida State. So you just never know how it's going to go with recruiting, because the academic rigor has to be so strong for these young men to come play for us and do the work here.
Which that brings up the next question then, is academics. What type of academics do students need to get to an Ivy League school, to play football at an Ivy League school?
Yeah, they have to be very strong. And Pete Krill used to call it Heartbreak Hotel because there's these wonderful athletes that sometimes haven't met the academic rigor that a school like Princeton. Princeton's the number one, U.S. News and World Report since I've been here. It's been the number one college in the country. Yeah. So, we're looking at the strongest caliber student. And, to me, when I came, Millville High School, when I came back here, was the 299th ranked public school out of 316 in the state of New Jersey. That intimidated me until I got here, and you see the support systems and how wonderful the deans and the associate deans and the academic support groups are here for all students, not just athletes. Yeah. And this isn't a place we're just trying to put a number on it, how many we graduate. Right. You really take classes that are enjoyable and challenging and everything else, but that intimidated me when I was 17 years old. Sure. And having gone through that, I think it eases the parents and the young men that I recruit, it eases their thought process a little bit that, we graduate 98.7% of our football players since I've been here. That's the number one. We got a little trophy a couple years ago. It was number one in all of college football that way. And I'd like to say I could take credit for that, but before I had the job, we were graduating like 97.5%. It's truly the university administration and support group are terrific there.
Now, grades at the high school level. So does the student need an A+ average, or do you take that kid that has a B+ average, but is really good in other things like extracurricular activities of other things?
Well, they certainly want to see balance, and certainly we don't want to ever as a coach, you never set limits on your students. I've heard people, B's and C's get degrees. No, if they're capable, I want to see them challenge themselves. Mm-hmm. It's not just about getting a degree and hanging that on a wall. It's about the challenges you face. And sometimes, the high school students that are B+ students that have challenged themselves and taken, courses that are very rewarding to them. That's better than taking courses just to get an easy A. Yes. And so they really look at the whole picture. The application process. I don't know if every school does this, but I know our admissions department reads every essay. It is important to see, and there's a lot of them. What did you do over the summer? What interests you? Mm-hmm. What are the last 3 books you read? They really want to see the quality of the candidate, not just somebody who has had all the resources to study for an SAT test and can pull a really high score. Right. They want to see balance. They want to see students that are going to embrace this wonderful university.
Now, is there a lot of parents out there always look for money because Princeton is not a cheap school? No. So is there scholarships at the school? Is there money available at the school that parents can look for? Yeah,
it's, I always wish it was retroactive, but they don't give out loans anymore. Everything is grant in terms of financial aid. It is a need-based school. Mm-hmm. So you do have to qualify for a need. Now, there are scholarships nationally, and very often our students, not just student athletes, qualify for them because these are, young men and women that, the thing that I found so impressive about Princeton, and when you go from 1986 to 2017, our president and our leadership group has made this huge commitment to identify kids from maybe the Millville high schools, the schools that are maybe have underachieved in the past, mm-hmm. but have these wonderful young men and women that can do the quality of work at Princeton. And when you look at our team, it is a very diverse team. We have kids coming from all different backgrounds. And, I embrace that, and it's a wonderful thing that the university embraces that as well.
So is there because it's a Division I school, is there scholarships that are given just like other large Division?
No, so it's all different than a Rutgers. Rutgers will give somebody a scholarship because they are a tremendous athlete, a football player, maybe the 5th best quarterback in the country. Right. With us, and we've recruited guys that are top 10 quarterbacks in the country. If they qualify for money, they're going to get the same money that the unbelievable mathematician coming out of Odessa, whatever, Omaha, they're going to get the same financial aid as any other student. The great thing at Princeton and a few other colleges that that we've partnered with that are just giving out, this all in grant money.
Yeah.
So it's all coming in financial aid. They're not having to take out loans unless they want to.
Gotcha. So now parents also ask, when they go to school for sports, it's always about the sport and not about the academics. Is it like that at Princeton University?
Yeah, I look at the people I recruit, and you look at, you read the paper, you say, oh my God, kids today and this and that. All I know is I'm recruiting at Princeton, and I walk into a house, and it may be a beautiful house, it may be a really, not small, tough neighborhood type. I mean, we every single place we go in, but the support systems, the moms, the dads, the guidance counselors, the friendships that these kids have, it is absolutely, to me, to see these young men, and with me, I'm recruiting young men, how much they do. And it's not just, they might be, we have a kid on our team, Jesper Horsted. Jesper was all-state in football, basketball, and baseball in high school. Small school in Minnesota. And he was all-state in all three sports. He was a wonderful student. He plays the guitar. He is, does everything. And he comes to Princeton. So far, he's won an Ivy League title in football, an Ivy League title in baseball, has been all-conference in football as a wide receiver for us. He's been all-conference twice in baseball, and he's spending his summer in Nicaragua, this summer, which, I got on him because I thought he was only going for a few weeks because he's a National Football League prospect. He's a Major League Baseball prospect. And, he needs somebody to throw to him, in terms of reaching that. And he'll figure it out. Like, our kids figure out a way to excel in everything. And, I don't want to set limits, on them. I don't want to say, oh, you can only play football. Because this kid's a wonderful baseball player, and don't play the guitar. You should be lifting. No, he's going to find a way to lift, to hit a baseball, to catch football passes, to be a tremendous student, which he is, and he'll find a way to enjoy himself and play the guitar at night.
Now, is he also good in classes? I'm assuming.
Yeah, he's a terrific student, and and that's the wonderful thing here. You don't have to just, I expect our guys to do more than just, catch a football. I expect them to serve the community. I expect them to, reach certain standards. And everybody has different standards. Some of these kids should be shooting to be 3.8 students. Some of them, they're taking every hard course on campus and challenging themselves. I know maybe a 3.2 is more realistic for that student. But he's going to get his, he might get more out of that experience than the 3.8 student.
Fantastic. So when they're at the school, what are they looking at for the whole year? Like when do the football players come to the school? Is it August, September? What do they do from August all the way until the following July? What's the process that you take them through?
A freshman coming in, I'll go through like a whole year with a freshman coming in. We'll start camp in late August. And they'll go through a training camp, no different, because at that point we don't have classes till mid-September. So this is like an NFL training camp or, a training camp for anybody else. They're going to practice, they're going to meet, and then we're going to do orientation sessions at night. It may be careers. It may be, service. It may be whatever that is, but we'll do something every night that is outside of football. And hopefully helps them life-wise, in terms of the big 40-year plan of their life that way. And then we'll start our season. The Ivy League, we play a 10-week season. We start, September 16th, and the Saturday before November, the season ends, and it is a sprint. We are not a marathon sport that goes, 50 games from October 15th until April 1st. We had 10 games, and, one hiccup can really make or break whether or not you win the Ivy League championship that way. So, we put so much energy into, our practices. We practice, review the game on Sunday, have a light workout, and then Monday's our off day. Tuesday is meetings, lift, and a physical practice. Wednesday is the same. And then Thursday is basically a walkthrough for us. Just a helmet, no other pads. Friday is they wear baseball caps, and we do a really brisk, fast-paced run on that day, going through all the main points of what we want for the game, and then
Saturday's
play on
game.
Saturday. And we'll do that for 10 weeks. Then we'll give them 2 weeks off, and then they'll go into different phases of a lifting session. And the first phase, they are going to lift and it's going to be a lot of reps. Three sets of 15 reps, and they're getting their bodies back. And then in February, when they come back for the second semester, that's our power phase. And we're going to do a 4 or 5 week power phase. Then we're going to have spring practices. We get 12 spring practices. We spread them out over about 4 weeks in March and early April. And then we're going to do another power phase in April until graduation, basically, until finals start, where again we get to test them and see where they've gained. And then in the summertime, we have guys like Jesper who are going to Nicaragua. We got other, most of our younger guys will be on campus, and we'll get internships in the community. Guys working many different, guys that want to be lawyers or doctors or, into business or football coaches, whatever that is. We'll find mentors for them, and people that live in this community that need interns. Right. We'll utilize our connections with that and help them, find and meet people that might be able to help them out with that. And then some others will do their internships elsewhere. They may be in New York City, and we have a group working at the Morgan Stanleys and Goldman and all those places. And
so now, how does a tour at the school go for football? Do you take them to the biggest rooms on campus? How does that all work?
It kind of depends on when they come up. A weekend would be different than a weekday, but they'll meet us if it's just one person, not a junior day type where there's hundreds of
kids
younger kids coming in. If it's just somebody comes in and we say we do tours every day at 11 or 1:30, and they'll come up, they'll meet with a coach, then we'll tour them. And start, we'll be in Jadwin Gymnasium, historic Jadwin Gymnasium, kind of tour them on our facilities, and then they'll either do a tour with us of the campus, or they'll do the university tour, depending on which one they choose time-wise. And then we'll just take them. We don't have a big campus. It is a beautiful small campus, and depending on who's taking them on the tour, if it's me, they may hear about where I met my wife and where, what eating club I was in. There's a lot of personal stories. If it's one of the coaches, he may be talking about his players. Our starting Mike linebacker is in Whitman College.
Do they do an overnight or anything like that?
We'll do official visits. Typically, those are in December or January. Okay. We're a later sport. My daughter is 13. She plays soccer and lacrosse. And, fortunately, lacrosse pushed their date back to junior year for their recruiting. But, there's 8th graders committing. So now she can kind of just enjoy and get better as a player and not have the stress of where am I going to college when I'm in 8th grade. That was a little bit early to me.
And do you find that more kids now are starting to try to find the schools freshman, sophomore year of high school, or do they still do it junior, senior year?
I think it's still mostly junior, senior year, but it starts earlier junior year. And I think freshman and sophomore year, they're working. Football is you need maturity. They're not physically grown at 14, 15 years old. Right. And for them to say, there's Bo Jacksons of the world, and then there's the rest of us. And for the other 99%, they're not physically mature enough at 14 years old to say, I'm going to play at Alabama, I'm going to play at Western Connecticut. But I think most kids know, hey, I want to be a college football player. And they're working on the lifting and the running and all the things they need to do to hone their games in that way. And I found high school coaches, and this is all due respect to my dad, but what they do now with 7-on-7s and everything else, these kids come to us, they're the smartest football players, not just because it's Princeton. No matter where they come, they are so far more advanced in terms of their mental understanding of the game than we were. And I played with Jason Garrett. We weren't anywhere near like the guys that are playing today when they get to us. The physical part still takes some time. But, sophomore year is typically when they'll come to our camps sophomore, junior year, and that's really for them. They get a chance to see campus, and I think it's a two-way street in terms of recruiting. I may want you, but you have to determine, do you want Princeton?
Right.
That way. Do you want this? Do you want to be in an environment where this is the best college in the country? It's also the Ivy League football champion, and we're going to, in both ways, push our guys to be as good as they possibly can be.
Yeah.
Some people, they don't want that in football, and there's other schools for that, and some people don't want that academically. And I look at it, we bring in about 30 kids every year. We had to find 30 of them that are just the right people. They fit Princeton.
Well, we're coming to the end of our show.
Yeah.
And usually my last question for my guest is, what advice do you want to give to the parents that are out there that their sons want to play football at an Ivy League school like Princeton University? Yeah.
Well, and I'm a parent. I have a 5th grade boy as well. And, as a parent, let them enjoy. Don't worry about specializing. I just sat with Jeff Trout, Mike's dad. Jeff was my idol. He was my favorite player my dad ever coached. And I loved being around him. And, Jeff played football growing up. He played basketball. All those things made an impact on him becoming the world's best baseball player. Don't feel this need that, Billy can only play this because that's the only way he's going to make it. No, it's all about the experiences. Be around this great group of friends. Be around this, and it really doesn't matter whether you're at the #1 high school or you're at a school with your friends. We're gonna find guys. There's technology today to send us the video and everything else, but I'd rather see kids embrace the community they're in. Whatever high school that is, whatever town that is, embrace that. Embrace the academics. Embrace the challenges, because maybe this isn't the right fit, but go to the place that's the right fit. Because too often kids feel, I got to go to this school because that's where mom and dad want me. They want me to be at the #1 national champion Clemson football. But maybe Clemson's not right. Maybe there's another community. Maybe it's a school that's smaller or bigger or different type. Go to the place that fits you, because you marry your school. I mean, I married my wife at school, but I married Princeton as well. And, for better, and it's all been better. That's where I'm associated with the rest of my life. And that's where my friendships, that's where, when we come back to reunions, it's the greatest group of friends. And it's not, just football. It's not just school. It's not, you take everything together and you put it together, and that's what you want. And, to me, it's enjoy there's the trust the process, to enjoy the process too.
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Anthony. This was great.
All right. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.